Hello and welcome to the latest episode of The Talking Tradesman. I'm very excited to announce that in the studio with me today, I have none other than the Valley Viking himself, Alex from Errioc Carpentry. Alex, let's talk, mate. Thank you very much for making the effort to come in today.
Thanks for having me.
No, mate, the thanks are all mine. The thanks are all mine.
Podcast veteran, no? But I'm hoping this podcast is going to go a bit deeper, dig a bit deeper into who I am as a person and what I do.
That's what it's all about, mate. Yeah, it's find out a little bit about you, find out, how you got started, why you got started, and anything you want to get off your chest throughout the conversation. So, yes, mate, no, I'm excited to have you in. It's great to have a carpenter to break up the decorators, the long line of decorators that I've had in. Not that I'm not thankful for each and every one of you, but it's nice to have a chippy in.
Yeah, mix it up a little bit.
That's it, mate. Absolutely.
The elite trades in. Joking.
Start off trade wars.
That's a good podcast. Trade wars.
Right then, mate. Let's go back to the beginning of your story.
Yes.
How far back do you want to go?
Well, we'll go back. Obviously, I've been in the trade now for coming up 19 years. So I started at 16.
Oh, wow, okay.
But working, I mentioned this on another podcast recently, I've been actually working since like 12. I come from a family of builders and they're quite driven people. That's why kind of where I am at the moment because of the upbringing I've had. Not like child labour or anything, but my family, as soon as you can start to, earn and learn basically. So paper round from 12 before school, which was, I think that's a bit of a challenge in itself. 12 years old, getting up at 5:30 in the morning, doing your paper round in the wet and the cold, going to school. I had a little job then in a dairy from 15 to 16 before I actually went out and started the apprenticeship. I'd be on site every school holiday. My parents would be like, look, school holidays, you ain't just sitting down on your ass. You're going out with your grandfather or your father on site and working. And back then, I'd be like, this is unfair. I should be out enjoying, which I did. I still had time to do my own thing. But I'm thankful for it now because obviously at that age I had a bit of money. Yeah, it wasn't a lot, but it was kind of drumming it into me. My parents were always relentless, saying you need to learn how to manage money. You need to learn how to get on your own 2 feet from a very, very young age. So I've always had that drummed into me.
Fair play to them.
I thank my parents for it now. And I think, I'm 34 coming on 35. And I think at that age, still really young, and I think I've achieved a lot. I've done a lot, I've seen a lot, and I've got a lot as well.
I can resonate a little bit, mate. My story is very similar. So, because I lived with my dad, who was a decorator. My mum and dad split when I was 8. And my dad being at work every summer holiday, Easter holiday, Christmas, whatever. I never had an option. It was you're coming to work. Yeah. Now, I didn't get told you've got to work, but I got given the option of you can either sit there and read magazines, or you can earn, here's a tenner to strip that wallpaper, whatever. Yeah. So I just got into work at a very young age, and I took over my business at 17. Wow. So similar story, mate. Working from a young age.
Well, that's it. Yeah, and even going back, obviously doing the apprenticeship, it all started. We wanted to go into the police. And done the work experience in the police at 15. I was the only one in the school. That was quite a funny story, actually. I was the only one in the school at the time who could go to the police. They'd only let certain people in. And the week that I went to the work experience was a week before everyone else. So I was landed because I went to do the work experience, come back to school the following Monday, and there was no one there, no kids at all. And they were like, yeah, you can't really teach on your own. I should have a week off. I was landed. And they said they'd rather see people come in with life experience. 18 and a half was the joining age, but they said they'd rather see people 22, 23, life experience, people skills, because that's what the job kind of entails. And then obviously I found the apprenticeship because I thought, I'll get an apprenticeship now and then go to the police afterwards. That didn't happen then. I was really fortunate enough to have two of the best carpenters I've ever come across. who taught me, and I kind of fell in love with the trade because I was from a family of tradies anyway. And yeah, just kind of stuck with it, and here I am today.
What area is this? Still South Wales? Was that always where you were?
Well, yeah. Obviously, South Wales was the main area of work, but once I qualified, then I was all about experience. I never chased the money in the early days, and it was nice to, if I had the money coming in and you got the chance to earn money, then great. But I always knew subconsciously. My dad always said, "Forget about money. Go out and learn your trade. Knowledge is invaluable," and that's why, even as an apprentice, every weekend I wasn't out with the boys. I was working. Any opportunity I could learn, so I have a chance to learn, soak up that knowledge, I did it. So I sacrificed a lot of my time in my earlier days to learn, because I knew if I had that knowledge, and they always say, it sounds cliche, but knowledge is power, and it is. I know so much within my trade, way more than people see on socials. I put a lot of my stuff on socials, and a lot of people probably see it like black and white. They're like, "Oh yeah, he can do a bit, like he's good at what he does," but no one realizes half of what I know. Like in my head, the stuff of my trade and the value and the knowledge I got, you won't see a lot of it. But that's just from the years of work. And then obviously the money came at the later stage. Then still earned money.
Yeah.
But I used to travel a lot. Like I stayed in South Wales, but if there was a job, I was traveling Swindon, I was traveling Bath, Bristol, like traveling that, because when I come into being self-employed at 19, it was kind of when there was a recession coming in. So I was
2008.
Yeah, just before I went to Australia, and I just wanted to work, because I had that worry. I was like, I got no work coming in. Even though when you look at it now, you're thinking, why was I even working for that amount of money? Like, I used to travel Swindon for like £200 a week. I was 19. That's 5 days. When I was sitting now thinking about it, I was like, what the fuck was I doing?
Let's pause there a moment to say a massive thank you to our headline sponsors, Zinza. Now, I am over the moon that Zinza have got on board to support the Talking Tradesman podcast, because genuinely we use Zinza products on virtually every job we do in my business as a painter and decorator. Zinza are a renowned and established brand. They do things like primers, sealers, and stain block coatings, and also things like the mold and mildew resistant finishes that they produce, such as the Perma White in front of me here. Zinza are well known for their stain block and adhesion primers, such as Bin and Bullseye 123, and their new product, the Bin Aqua. Zinza's products are well known for their high performance and ease of use. They cater to both the professional and DIY market, and the Talking Tradesmen are once again over the moon to have sponsored with Zinza as our headline sponsor. Now let's get back to the episode. I've got a theory about, so I was in business myself, so I'm 6 years older than you. So I was in business when the 2008 recession hit, and I didn't miss a beat. Didn't affect me at all. It's probably because of the demographic of work that I was doing, being domestic. But I've got sort of like a theory when it comes to recessions, which is the money doesn't disappear. Like, it's somewhere.
Yeah.
People have still got it. Someone's got it.
Yeah.
It's just transfer of wealth.
Yeah.
And generally, when we talk about recessions, it's, it hits working and lower class people. But there's people up there that get very fucking rich in recessions. As I say, it's not, a recession doesn't mean that somewhere, it's not like Escobar's money where the rats have eaten it. You know what I mean? The money's still there. It's just being diverted to wherever it might be. I mean, again, you look at our current example of that, the cost of living crisis. Well, the resources are still there. Money is a measurement. It's just something we use to trade.
Yeah.
So the cost of living crisis is very real. I'm not disputing that. But that money is just being transferred, whether that's to the power companies or the people the next step down, wherever it is, the money's still there. Yeah. So somewhere, working in the construction industry, there's still the managing directors of whatever company are profiting very well in recessions. They still want work doing.
Yeah, and you just got to put yourself in the the right place at the right time.
It's the right demographic, mate.
Yeah.
I know with recessions, obviously house builders get hit, and new builds and things like that do slow down. And I experienced myself, my demographic of work changed, so commercial dried up, but domestic picked up.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think as long as you're adaptable, it's quite possible to ride through a recession.
Yeah, but what I did, I went the complete other way. I went to Australia when that recession was coming in. Like I was working different places around the country, working away on the timber frames because I had a passion for timber frame. I wanted to learn. I stayed with my uncle, so going back a bit further, then I was self-employed with a company, and it was constant like, are you earning this? How are you earning this much money? How are you, just coming out of your time and earning like £600-700 a week? And I was like, well, the people who taught me were good.
Mm.
I learned a lot. Speak to the foreman, like I'm not pulling the wool over it. I'm generally earning that money and the quality's there. And every week they'd come up and check the work, okay, and pay. I was like, I don't need this. Like, I'm here to work. I'm earning you your money. You were having what you've priced it for. Mm. I'm earning what you've told me the prices are. If I'm earning that quicker than some of the boys who got, that's not my fault. That's just because I'm good at what I do. Because I've put the effort in and the time to learn to be skilled. And I had the guts for that. I thought, you know what? My uncle had 6 months coming up. 6 months solid timber framing on a site, which was close to where I was living. I took a massive pay cut. I was on like £250 or £230 a week. I might get a little bit extra if we'd done a good week. So I just thought, take the pay cut. No hassle. Guaranteed 6 months of work. I ain't done much timber frame. Let's do it. Learn a new skill. And I was young, still living with all my parents. Again, sorting up that knowledge. And then went out on my own, then doing my own timber frames. Went to Australia, and because of the recession, it was at the end of that timber frame contract. That was a big thing in itself.
Yeah, like massive, mate. Tell me about that. Like, how did that come about?
So it was always the thing, like a lot of the group of boys I was hanging around with at the time, they were like, oh yeah, we'd love to travel and go see the world, etc. But a lot of them were just saying they wouldn't leave their front door and would leave their parents, let alone go across the other side of the world. With, again, my parents were like, get out there, go see the world. There's more to life than the Rhondda. Me and my good mate at the time, we set it up. We were going to go together, planned it for months. Literally 3 days before we were going to go, he's like, Al, I'm not going. I'm like, are you serious? He's like, yeah, I know. I'm staying at home. My girlfriend, I know I'm settling down now. I was like, oh, sorry, mate. But yeah, you were lost. Like, I'm going. So I ended up sticking to the plan on my own, rocked up in Australia in Perth, 1 o'clock in the morning. My mother just dropped me off. I can't remember what time was of the day before. Dropped me off at the train station. Ta-da. It's like, cheers, mum. It's like, bye. Yeah, drop me off the car. Here's your bags. Have a good time. Like,
yeah.
There was no like massive, I'm going to miss you, which is good because I don't want to be like, showering me with like hugs and whatever. No. I just want to kind of, just go do your thing.
Off you go.
Because it's more like, right, okay, I am on my own now. Went across, rocked up in Australia, 1 o'clock. I had nowhere to stay. I seen a place I knew I could stay. Didn't know if there was any reservations or any vacancies there. They made no reservations. Luckily, I turned up, knocked the door. It was a bed. There was one bed in the hostel, and I stayed there for 6 months. Then, so I think that was a massive learning curve as well to kind of go out at the age of 20. I was 20 at the time, so I turned 21 in Australia, which was like that was a massive thing anyway. What a way to spend your 21st.
Personal growth on that, mate, must have been huge. Like going out, I mean, there's loads there. Going out on your own, like that's big anyway. Traveling on your own's big. A lot of grown men won't do that.
Yeah.
So, that's
20 years old. I had enough money in my bank to sustain me for a month without working. Because I knew I wasn't going to go straight out there and work. That was the purpose, going to work because of the recession. But I thought, right, let's go out there, have 2 weeks holiday, chill, a bit of downtime, get to enjoy myself, and then we'll go into work.
So they're all timber frame, aren't they?
Yeah, which is, again, is a funny story because in the West Coast, they don't do a lot of timber frame. East Coast, they do.
Okay.
They have a lot of problems with termites. So there's a lot of concrete builds, formwork. So that's what I did initially. As I read, I'm a carpenter. Let's go out and find some carpentry work or close to. The first job I done was foam work, which is like concrete shuttering. So you got it's like cement panels with rebar inside, all like pre-built panels, like a Legos in a sense, and they fill it with concrete. I lasted 3 days because the heat was just unbearable. I went out to Australia in like their summer or the start of their summer. It was September. I just couldn't stick it. So then, luckily at the time in Australia, you could just get a job anyway at any time. So tried that, couldn't handle the heat. Done removal work, didn't like that because it was just, again, too hot. Farm work, landscaping, which I enjoyed. Again, learn these new skills, meet new people. And in the end, I settled in a galvanizing plant because it was night shift. And the money at the time, the night shift, was way more than any money I'd had back home on the tools. Because again, I was still young. I think I was on about £12-13 an hour, self-employed. And out there, I was earning about £17 an hour money. I think at the time it was about like $26.
Dollars, yeah.
And I loved it.
What part of Australia was this?
Perth.
Yeah,
okay. Stayed in Perth. I just got set up camp. I didn't do much travelling. I was there to work and settled in the galvanizing plant. Absolutely loved it. I was outside doing all the rigging, so I'd hang up all the metal, and then we'd go inside and do the cleaning as well. And so again, learning new skills. And then kind of it was still warm. It was still 33 degrees in the night time. I was in shorts and t-shirt. But yeah, learned new skill, learned a lot about myself as a person. Like I just said, to be able to go out to the other side of the world, rock up at stupid o'clock in the morning, not knowing where you're going, no friends, nothing. And yeah, I'm here to tell the tale. So I survived 6 days. 6 months I spent out there. Came back home, and then I jumped straight back into being on the tools.
Had you always intended on doing 6 months and coming back?
Initially, yes. I think I was with a girl at the time,
right?
And even though
you took with you, or
no, she stayed back home. And this is like, yeah, I always reckon everything's written out for you anyway. It don't matter how you want to go through your life. I think it's kind of all mapped out. And yeah, I was with a girl before I went. She said, I ain't going to hold you back. It was nothing serious. It was just, really like that. But that was too big an opportunity to miss. So I went out, came back, and literally the day I got back, she's like, I want to take things slow now. I was like, are you serious? I've literally just come from the outside of the world. I even got offered sponsorship to stay in Australia. And I was like, I'm going back. And then the week later, I met someone else who I had my son with.
Right.
We're no longer together. I was just split up, and I'm with my wife, who I'm with now.
Yeah.
And since I've been with Corey, like that's when everything really started to like evolve. Then that's when I kind of come into kind of the person I've kind of always wanted to be, or knew I was. She's a lot younger than me, but she's the driving force behind a lot of what you see at the moment.
Such a common tale, mate. I've had some incredible people sit in the chair that you're sat in, and with some incredible stories, some heartbreaking stories, but quite often the thing that's common between everyone is the having a good strong partner behind you, a supportive partner. It is really important. And it's not that you can't do it on your own. Obviously, if you're out there and you are single or whatever it is, you're still there. But I think having a strong, supportive partner, it's like just being on train tracks, isn't it? And if you've got that support, if you start to drift off, there's somebody to just nudge you back on. Oi,
she does as well. But yeah, everything. When we bought our first house together, I was married, so I've never been married before. Never bought a house before.
How long have you been married, Alex?
I've been married. I think it's.
Put you on is this one of them?
Edit this
bit out.
I think it's 6. Yeah, 6 years this November.
Fair play.
Yeah, 6 years.
Similar
to me. Yeah. She's 8 years younger than me. But you swear she's the same, if not a bit older in her mannerisms. But yeah, we
I'm glad you added mannerisms there, Alex.
we're a good team. Like we've done a lot, like way more than I ever thought I'd achieve in such a. And then that gives me more of, that ambition. And it's there. Like since we've been together, and we've done the things we've done. I'm thinking, bloody, I never thought I'd be able to do that. At this
to be honest with you, I mean, one of the first things when I first spoke to you about coming on the podcast, you said to me, speak to or I've got to check with the missus or speak to the missus because she's the one that holds my diary and tells me where I'm going. And all credit because I've seen all the stuff that you've got on, mate, and you're very, very busy.
Yeah.
So I think having that support and having somebody to, ease the pressure on you, that's invaluable,
100%. I'm crap with technology. Like I'm good on the phone, but put me behind a laptop or, computer. I'm just like, so she does a lot of the admin. So Errioc is her name. It's an anagram.
Okay.
It's like a little inside joke. So I'm the Valley Viking that everyone calls me. So I said, oh, your Viking name is your name backwards. But when I actually spelt it out, I was like, oh, hang on, it's not right. I thought it was Corey backwards, but it's not. Two of the letters are the wrong one. So as I was saying it sounded cool. And I was like, oh, actually, no, they're the wrong round. That's not Corey backwards, but we'll stick with it anyway. That's a cool name. So your Viking is
where it comes from.
Errioc, yeah. And it doesn't exist. I mean, I think we spoke before.
About trademarking.
Trademark. Yeah. Because the word doesn't exist anywhere in the world, to my knowledge. I've looked, like intensively looked.
Have you done
for
your
the
trademarking?
Word. No, but I'm getting this.
Now you've mentioned it. This is going out, mate. You've got to get that done.
It doesn't exist. That's cool. Making up your own word, and it kind of resonates. It's about what we're about, and the business and that the Viking niche, which is a big kind of thing I want to go on to maybe a bit later.
You've answered the question, mate. I was going to ask you where the name come from, but that's great.
So that's in itself. I created that identity then when I went on to. So obviously with social media, I was AB Prestige Carpentry, and again a bit cliche. And it's like my dad even said, "Oh, keep that. You've used that for the first couple of years now with being self-employed and everything." I was like, "Nah," and I said, "Errioc Carpentry." My dad, I shouldn't say it because people are going to just may say the same because hairy cock Carpentry. It's like, cheers. But I was like, no, I'm sticking with it. My dad is like one of them people. He's proper wind-up merchant, like I am as well. Like I'm quite bubbly, banter, constantly love wind-ups and everything. And he's the same. That's where I got a lot of it from. And I said, no, I'm sticking with it. Errioc. It's my own word. I've invented it. Doesn't exist. And that's what I want to be. I want to separate myself from everyone else.
I think it's good, mate. It's a strong name. It does separate you. And like you said, there's no one else out there. I mean, I'll be honest, like my business, decorating, RDP, painters and decorators, it does not stand out. In my local area, it does what I need it to do. But in terms of like a brand,
that's
what you've got is on the money.
That's what I want to do. I knew at the start of my social media journey and my own business, I started off as AB Prestige Carpentry. I've been on socials now for over 4 years. I think the first year was AB Prestige, and it was getting legs. It was doing all right, and I thought, no, I need to be different. And that's where they come from. And that inside joke turned into, it could be massive. Like you just don't know. Like I said, about the branding, and everyone recognizes me now as this alter ego of the Valley Viking. Having people know you as something else other than Alex, and that helps stand out again from the rest of the crowd. And that's what I always want to do. I always want to be. I'm quite a unique person anyway. I try and be as individual as I can. It's hard to do that, especially on socials. Finding your own way of doing things and your own uniqueness. So, took the name, run with that. The Valley Viking, that tagline, and it's not just Alex the Carpenter from AB Prestigious. The Valley Viking.
Where did that come from, Alex? Like the Valley Viking, when did that start? How did that come about?
Again, simple story. I was working in Bristol. I was running a job up there, and below there was a gym. And one of the owner of the gym, he's a rugby player for Bath. And I got quite pally with him. And that's when I started growing my hair out. And he's like, I've seen you on socials. I started following you. I was like, oh, cheers, Tom. And I said, he said, oh, do you know why you look like a Viking? He said, I was like, oh, I find out a couple of people said that. He said, the Valley Viking. That's it. That's what I'm going to call it, the Valley Viking. And a couple of days later, I thought, do you know, I'm going to take her. And the boys were like, oh, that's cheesy. You know, I said, nah, I said, I'm going to put that in my bio, the Valley Viking. And I don't care if people laugh or, take the piss. So I put that in the bio, and then other people start saying, oh, as my hair got longer, I had this bit of a look, and put myself on social. Oh, you look like a Viking, the Valley Viking. And you just stuck. And then a lot of people now will call, that's what they associate me with. That's my name, the Valley Viking.
Mate, I literally, when I was getting ready this morning, my missus was getting ready, Andrew was getting ready, and I said, because I've had a few recordings this week, and I said, oh, yeah, don't forget, I'm recording this morning. She said, oh, yeah, who was it you got in today? I was like, the Valley Viking. That was the first thing that I said. I didn't say Alex or Errioc or whatever. And she was like, oh, right, yeah. So, it's stuck well, mate. It's a good, it's good. Your branding's on point, to be fair, with both elements.
Again, I'm not, everything I do now is from a business point of view, as a businessman, no one's ever taught me anything. Like everything I do, I'm winging it. Like everything I do, I'm winging it.
I know that feeling.
I'm winging it, learn as I go. But again, if anyone's watching, that's some of the biggest advice I can give to people. Like I just said about going to Australia, and just learning, just jump in, have a go, learn from your mistakes, learn as you go. I think that's the best way. And a lot of stuff that you do, you can't be taught. And I think this kind of proofs in the pudding, because like where I am now, with the brands I work with the work I got coming in, I feel like I'm in a good place, like successful. I feel I'm successful now. There's more things I want to do, more things I want to achieve, but I'm in a good place. I'm happy, and I think success then is finding that balance and being happy. Then, like, you could have millions in the bank, you could have all the flash cars and whatever, but I found now being happy, being successful is having that consistent work coming in, having the roof over your head, having that plan then of where you want to go. That's success to me. That's being in a good, happy place, comfortable,
Yeah, man, I was just soaking that in. Yeah, it's wise words.
Because
wise words.
I see a lot of people on socials, or see us on socials. They want to do what we're doing, which is great. But a lot of people I know, they ain't in that position to be able to do certain things. They just want to do what everyone else is doing, but they forget about the groundwork that's put in to get to where I am now. Like saying, like the hours I put in over the years as an apprentice.
Yeah.
Hours and hours, relentless hours, working weekends, working 15-hour shifts, travelling to Bath, travelling to Bristol, running a group of boys, coming home then at like 4:30, I was getting home at 6 o'clock, leaving site at 4:30, hour and a half commute in the morning, hour and a half commute back, then going to work. So there's been years of, learning my craft, learning my trade, getting myself in a position of being comfortable financially, having the experience and everything to be able to go, right, I'm ready now to do something else, take on a new challenge. Social media is a challenge.
It is, but everything that you're telling me, it's like, yes, like you're doing incredibly well now, and we'll get onto everything that you're doing, but it's everything, the position you're in now has been 15 years in the making. Yeah. So and quite rightly, people do look and aspire and think, I could do that.
Yeah.
And as you just touched on, and I can testify to, the amount of hours that goes into your social channels, building the audience, it's huge, man. And I saw an article, might have been a couple of months ago, might have been a week ago, my memory is terrible. But it was basically saying, like, how do people justify charging for promo work on social media? Charging whatever it might be, £1,000 to do a video. Well, it's not. You're not getting paid for the video. You're getting paid for the fact that you've spent maybe 5-10 years building that channel, building the audience of people that have actually watched you do thousands of hours, hundreds of videos of unpaid to build your reputation, build trust, where people will trust your opinion, trust your knowledge. that's what you're getting paid for. You're not getting paid for that 3-minute video that you're doing for a brand. You're getting paid for all of the work you did to establish yourself.
Yeah.
And when you look at it from that perspective, it makes sense. But it's the tip of the iceberg thing, isn't it? Where people just see the very tip and they go, hold on, £1,000 for a 90-second reel. And then, then the jealousy kicks in and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
But they don't see the thousands of hours that have gone into getting that.
We experience a lot of that on social media. Like I'm really thick-skinned. Anyone who's close to me, my family, they know. Like my mother always says, Alex couldn't give a shit what anyone thinks of him, and I don't. I care. I care more about other people, and if they ain't like the way I am, and they're on socials, and they're going to get backlash and things because it can be quite detrimental. But again, like you said, the hours I've put in over the years, no one sees any of that. No one knows who I am really. Like you see me on the screen, you can associate me as the Valley Viking, he's a carpenter, he's on social media and he does good work. But then when the people come in and be like, oh, why is this guy doing that? Oh, he's a sellout. Oh, he's getting paid for stupid videos. I'm doing it because one, I'm in the position to be able to do it, and two, I've worked my arse off for so long that you don't know nothing about, and I'm trying to look at my future plan now of coming off the tools, winding down, working with brands, I get paid good money, I do, but I've laid the foundation to be able to, like you said, to have that money.
Yeah, man.
I know my worth, I know my value, and the brands, and they don't just pay for me as a carpenter, they're paying for that personality, they're paying for the character of the Valley Viking. Paying for your experience, paying for the time you put in to edit your videos, to film in the videos. There's loads of things behind the scenes that people don't take into consideration. But yeah, we get a lot of the backlash from people. It's annoying. I don't care about it, but I just want people to understand there's a lot more than meets the eye. Like, especially the older generation as well. Like, they're the worst. The absolute worst. Like, and a lot of these people, they're at home, they've probably got a family, they've probably got kids. Men in their 40s, late 40s and 50s, trawling you online. And you're like, hang on though. Have a day. Like, you don't know me, you don't know nothing about me. But yet you think it's okay to go and slag me off because you see in a couple of seconds video because I'm focused on a key aspect of the job. You haven't seen the job, you don't know what it's about, you see in 30 seconds, 60 seconds of a video, and then you get judged then from that. But it's malicious, like the way people are. And you've got these the talk groups as well, like the Carpenters talk group. I wouldn't be part of all that toxic environment.
Again, it's nice to have, as I say, a carpenter in, because I know my industry and the decorating industry and the decorating forums are like that. It's almost like a shark pool. Little drop of blood in the water, little bit of uncertainty, and they're on it. So is it the same in carpentry circles?
It's horrendous. And again, I've had people say to me, "Oh, you're just working with brands, and you're on social media doing these videos." I'm like, "Yeah, but you're forgetting these videos I put out there. To you, there might be a 60-second clip of something so trivial, but to someone you keep forgetting, like." They should know better than other people. There's people still coming into our industry. There's people who are in our industry which don't know stuff that they might see online. I always go back to the story. I know, again, like quite cheesy or cliche, the boy in the bottle, I call it, right? And it's my own experience of one of my best mates, Nathan. And he come to my front door and we had a conversation. He said, right, catch you later, I'm off now. And he had a bottle of water, empty. And he goes, can you put that in the bin for me? And I went, yeah, of course. I took the lid off. Crumple the bottle, put the lid back on, and you went, what did you do that for? What did I put in the bag? Fits in better. Oh my God, I've never seen that before. I was like, yeah, don't you do that? No, I never do that. I just throw them in the bin. I was like, crumple them up, you got more room in your bag. But didn't even think of that. I'm thinking there's something so simple that you might just take for granted. And there's people out there which we're like, I've never seen that before. Yeah. That's so simple, which is a lot. Social media is teaching people so much hacks and life hacks and things. But I always go back to that, and I always think to myself, to me, that was something so simple, so stupid, just a common thing I would do. But then he's seen that as something amazing.
Yeah.
And that can resonate then within the things that we do
Great
in the trade.
analogy, mate. I mean, again, a brilliant example of that is Kev Paint Warrior. Big shout out to Kev. Kev got started with his first video of cutting in around a light socket, which is something that I've probably done 100,000 times and never thought I'll record this. But there's people out there that now cutting in videos in decorating. Everyone, they're huge. Something that I've done for years and years and years and just took for granted, like, it's just part of the job. And you're quite right, to people that aren't in the trade. And massively importantly, what you just mentioned is people coming in.
Yeah.
Because like the statistics show, the trades are dying out when it comes to new people coming in. So it needs the likes of you, the likes of Kev, the likes of, people with the big social accounts, Danny Madden, all you lads that are out there flying the flag for the construction industry as a whole. It's really fucking important, mate, and all credit to you for doing it and keep doing it. Because the other thing is that media form now resonates with the younger generation. The younger generation are watching TikTok and Instagram and Facebook, probably less Facebook now, actually. But that they are watching those platforms, and that is going to resonate, and that is going to then twig their interest and bring them in, because if we don't talk about what we do and show people what we do, how's anyone going to know? Because I tell you what, the schools aren't telling kids to come into construction.
No.
So if we're not doing it, who is?
Yeah. And again, times are changing, technology's changing. You got to get with the times. Like, that's the biggest thing I say to people, the older generation. You just got to suck it up. Like, things are changing. People don't like change. Older people, especially. I know I say older people, but anyone really just don't. People don't like change. They're set in their ways. But technology is changing. The tools we use are changing. The equipment, the products. Everything is changing. Probably a lot more rapidly now than 30 odd years ago. Because of the technology we've got to increase performance on power tools and the way things are manufactured. And you just got to roll with the times. Like, I maybe was lucky when I come into my trade, it was when power tools were really kind of starting to come in. So I learned a lot of the older aspects from the guys who were teaching me, because they were just coming into new nail guns, new drills. So they taught me a lot of the older skills. College taught me some of the older skills, which a lot of them I would never use anyway.
Yeah.
So I kind of come into it the right turn of events. So still having that hands-on feel of older techniques, then with all the modern equipment, and then coming in with that modern technology and the changes then throughout my last 19 years. So I've adapted to that, and I understand that now. Things are changing. And you're always evolving. Like I said this again the other day, you're only as good as today. Nothing pisses me off more than when someone say, I'm a master carpenter. I'm a master carpenter. And another example of that, even the guy in college, and one of my mates who was in college at the time, he can vouch for me on this, with a master carpenter who was a carpentry technician who wasn't even the main teacher, and he used to boast on about he's part-time fireman, I'm a master carpenter, blah, blah, blah. And he set us up on this jig one day on a door lining, scribing an architrave. And he said, do it like this. And me and my mate went, hang on, we haven't done it like that on site. And we said, tell you what, we're going to do it. Darren is in. I said, Darren, we're going to do it like this instead. Put the architrave on, set it across the margin, put a block down, scribe to the wall, job done. He's like, I've never seen it like that before. If you feel more comfortable doing like that, do it like that. I'm thinking, hang on, you're supposed to be teaching us, not the other way around. So again, if you haven't seen it, you don't know it. But no one's the best in the world. Like, I won the Carpenter of the Year 2022 for Fixed Radio. And I'm not naive. I ain't going to go around saying, I'm the best in the country, I'm the best carpenter going. I was just there at the time in a pool of selected people, and I won, because the job, one of the biggest jobs that was put forward was a bloody good job. Like, it was a roof in Swansea, massive job, probably the biggest roof I've ever taken on. So I feel I was worthy of winning, but I'm never going to stand there and say I'm the best. There's always someone out there better than you. It's just they haven't been in that position to be involved with that competition or whatever. So, people who say I'm the best, time served, all that bollocks, it doesn't mean anything. Like,
no, we had this conversation briefly pre-record, mate, and I'm on the same level as you when it comes to time served. And the point that I've made before, and I'll make again, is that the time that you've been in your trade is only relevant to its current sort of incarnation. So if the trade has moved on, like me in my industry, 15 years of my experience is now completely irrelevant, because we don't, dustless sanding, for example, everything used to be hand sanded. So that knowledge and experience is pretty much redundant. Spraying systems in my industry, again, the last 5 years. So anything that I now spray that I wouldn't have, that knowledge is now redundant. So yeah, it's there. And I guess there are things that I can take away from my experience, but it's probably more problem solving, customer service, those kind of elements of being time served. But actually hands-on in the industry, I am completely aware that somebody could walk into my industry today and within 3 years be better than me if they apply themselves.
Yeah.
And that will continue. That will continue. And the likelihood is the older I get, and probably give me another 10 years. Like if some 20-odd-year-old lad comes in and puts 3 years into really learning and training in the trade, there's no reason why they can't be up there on the top level of things.
Well, again, and everything I say on this podcast is gospel truth. Like I don't lie. It's experiences I've had. And one of the biggest experiences, like you just said, as an apprentice, I was out every weekend. I sacrificed a lot of my younger years in my, not childhood, but my teens or whatever, to go out and learn my trade and my craft, while some of my mates are still at home with their parents, down the car parks in their cars on the nights. I was out working and learning and getting a bit of extra income. And I always go back, and I was working on a job. I lost my train of thought now.
Talking about when you were an apprentice.
Yeah. I forgot what I was going to say. Mind blank.
Gone. It'll come back to you in 10 minutes.
In a bit now.
Yeah.
But again, I sacrificed a lot at a younger age to learn my craft, go out while everyone's just enjoying themselves. And I think that's obviously helped a lot now with, that's what it was, going out and learning and working and having that experience. When I was an apprentice, I was on a job on a roof, and 2 experienced carpenters there on a roof, bear in mind. I'm 18, coming to 19 years old, and they were struggling on the roof. Cutting a diminished trusses requirement, diminished rafters. And I hadn't been on that job long or in that company long. And I said, oh, guys, do you mind if I take over? And they're like, yeah, go on. What are you going to help us with? I said, well, I'll show an easy way of cutting in the rafters. Okay, go on, show us. So these guys now in their late 40s, early 50s, I'm nearly 19, jumped up on the roof, boom, 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 done. Yeah, I see this way to do it. And they're like, oh, fair play, like. How do you know that? So I just learned it. I was on a roof not long ago, and I've done a lot of roofs in my family, and this is the easiest way I find to do it. And they were like, oh, fair play. And I remember one of the guys I worked with, he phoned the owner of the company to say, oh, fair play, this guy, he's come here now, just show us some bits on the roof. He's shit hot, like, he's really good. And I ended up staying with that company for like 10 years then, because at an early stage I kind of established myself as, what I could do. And that's all down to learning at that young age, like sacrificing, might sound again cliche, but I sacrificed a lot of my time of maybe going out and enjoying myself more.
Do you know what, mate? You weren't sacrificing, you were investing.
Yeah, of course.
You invested in yourself, and now you're reaping the benefits and the rewards of that. So I get what you're getting at, because in your early 20s and all the rest of it, lads holidays and out on the piss every weekend. And stuff like that, but you've just invested in yourself, mate.
Yeah, never really interested me. Obviously, I had time to go out and spend like time with the boys and do my own thing, but that came second, because I knew, like, while I was living at home with my mum and dad, and I had no overheads, no bills to pay, or very very little bills. I still paid board and lodge, again, which is my parents drummed that into me to get me to learn to pay for rent or your food and
100%, yeah.
But yeah, I'm thankful for, like I said, a better term is probably investing. And I could see as I was growing up through my early 20s, the boys I'd grown up with, distance myself from them because they were just doing their, what boys would do when I was working, and I lost a lot of friends. I had no friends at one point. Like one point in my life, I had sounds sad, but I had 0 friends, and I actually went out with my mother and her friends, a couple of times because I had no one. Like I was on my own, and at the time I was thinking, I got no friends, I got no one, but what can I do with that? And that's like, just go out and make something for myself and get, save for the house, save for the car I've always wanted. A lot of it came at an earlier age at my first property and everything, but as I've gone on, then I've had these dreams and goals, and it's all down to the fact that I just put that effort and that time at my earlier ages. Like,
I think with you mentioning that, mate, it's a good point for me to ask the question, really, because with construction in the UK is the worst industry by demographic for male suicide.
Yeah.
So it's got the worst figures. As a man, you're most at risk if you work in construction. It's unfortunately, suicide is the biggest killer of men under 50 in the UK as well. So in construction, you're currently 4 times more likely to end your own life if you're male. And there's on average 2 or just over 2 people every working day in construction are taking their own lives. And one of the big sort of factors that I believe is partially to blame, or one of the triggers, is the solitude, the working alone. The 2 worst trades, actually, the worst affected trades, are all badly affected, but the worst affected trades are decorators and plasterers, which are 2 of the finishing trades. So by sort of process, 2 of the more likely trades to be working solo. How have you found your journey? Because you've been in the trade a long time, like myself. How have you found your journey within the trades and the pressures, and how have you coped with it?
So, obviously, I used to work a lot on my own through a lot of my time, and I think the reason for that was I didn't trust a lot of people. So I wanted to be on my own, which I was always. I'm good with my own company anyway. I like to be a lone wolf. Sometimes I like to go out and just head down, music on, and just do my thing. It is good to have company because I like to have a laugh on site as well and have that banter. But I used to do a lot of things for myself, keep myself to myself, and not have that distraction then. And this is at the early age, like no distractions, just learn, do my thing, and crack on. But having a small business and starting off on my own, luckily, like I said, I had my wife to support me like loads throughout the bit. If I didn't have a lot of help then, like with having subbies in and things like on these jobs, like I would never be able to do what I'm doing now. Like when you take on more responsibility and kind of evolve into something bigger, like having a small business is a completely different animal than being just sole trading. So definitely needed that help. But even having the help sometimes has turned in, it's gone the other way as well. Like the start of this year, then I took a floor job on, went on holidays, left my cousin to do the job, and it was just fucked, ruined the job, and that sent me into a massive spiral. And I was thinking, I'm lucky that I'm just a small business, and this is a small problem in the grand scheme of things. Like we just get it done, and I learn from it. But that for me, that was a bad time. Like that was really bad.
I remember seeing that job on your socials, because didn't you have to take the whole floor up? And
take relay it, recycle the floor. It literally was about 2 weeks worth of labour, and you would try and factor that into 6 weeks solid work. And it couldn't have come at the worst time, because I remember at the start of the business, I was like, right, let's build this company, let's get my name out there more. Now I got a good reputation anyway, but let's put that into Errioc Carpentry, not just Alex sole trading. And I promised my wife, because at the beginning she couldn't see, even though she could see the business and how that would benefit us, she couldn't see the social media side of it at the early stages of how that would benefit us. So I was trying to do the business, do my socials, working stupid hours again, which I promised I wouldn't do. But then I promised her at the beginning, that's important. Build that reputation, get the business out there. Once I'm established, I can start winding down a little bit, work more sociable hours. And that's where it kind of was happening at the beginning of the year.
Okay.
Back into normal hours. We were booked solid, plenty of work, but there was no overtime, late nights or weekends. That literally happened as I was kind of getting in a good, in a good place. And I was like, this is typical. Like, so now I'm working all these stupid hours again, working weekends. I'm stressed. I'm panicking because of my reputation. Luckily, the clients were good as gold. I knew them. I knew them from school and everything. So I had good clients. If it was a bad client, again, could have been detrimental. Could have had bad reviews. Could have had people slagging me off. Where the job was, it's in the Rhondda, very small community.
Yeah,
don't take long to get a bad word around. Everyone knows everyone. And it's like all I was thinking about is my reputation. It was like I've put so much hard work and graft into getting myself in this position. One hiccup could ruin everything. Luckily, we come out the other side, and a lot of that's thanks to social media and my mates.
I think fair play to you again, though, mate, because you didn't hide that situation away. You put it out on social that this has happened. This is what I'm going to do to rectify it.
Yeah.
And me personally, I think that builds your reputation.
Yeah.
Like me looking as a customer, and I know I'm probably a bit biased because I'm in the industry, but I would look from a customer's point of view and think that mistakes happen, things go wrong.
Yeah.
And to see that you actually took that whole situation and then handled it the way that you did, redid it, to me, that's really commendable, because the companies out there that would sort of, hit and run, you wouldn't see them again. You ring them with a problem and that's it, you're blocked.
Yeah.
So the fact that you handled it the way that you did, all credit to you. I mean, that's the way it should be handled.
Yeah.
But also the fact that you put that out there publicly to say, I've had this problem, I'm fixing it. I think that deserves credit as well.
Yeah, and looking back at it now, it was a blessing in disguise. Maybe it was meant to happen. It made me analyse things a bit better. Who do I get in? The subbies I get in. Don't let my guard down. Always keep on top of checking the work and make sure I'm in control of.
And that was a job with family as well.
Yeah. So I've learned from that, come out the other side, and taken more control. And I'm in a better position now because of that. So it wasn't ideal at the beginning. Cost me money, cost me time, a lot of stress. And I remember going and I just broke down one night. I was so panicky about the reputation, people giving me a bad name. I was like, I've never had this before.
Yeah.
Never had a bad name or nothing really go wrong. I've always made sure that I put so much effort into being good at what I do. No comebacks, nothing. Sometimes it can't be helped. Problems occur no matter what. Yeah. You can't always have 100%. But I always try to give 110%. And I was just so worried about that, about losing everything that I've built up. But like I said, luckily it was, come out the other side and just learn from me.
Mate, this is it. It's a mindset shift that I've adopted myself, and that's to try and accept life's failures as lessons, and that is where the biggest growth happens.
Yeah,
where from our failures we learn. There's a problem where you don't learn. If you repeat your failures, that becomes an issue. But when things go pear-shaped, as long as you can take something from it, I don't see it as a total loss anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the lessons are painful, and some of the lessons are expensive, but you can take that. And I guess that is where it then plays into the experience. The longer that you've been doing it, the more cock-ups you've made.
Yeah.
So hopefully the more you've learned, in terms of that element of things. Because I think one of the things that goes overlooked when it comes to the construction industry, there's such a high proportion of us that are self-employed, running businesses. There's such a big difference, but you could be the best carpenter in the world. That doesn't mean that you're a businessman.
Yeah.
So a lot of us, we master, or we try to master our trade. We get as good as we can at our trade. But then to be as good as you can at a business, all of a sudden you've got to be an accountant, a salesman, PR, HR, an employer. There's all these elements that come in with it that are nothing to do with being a tradesperson.
Yeah.
And that, I think a lot of people don't really give that credit, that when you see a successful small business, it's not because that they're just a fantastic whatever it is, whether it's carpenter, plasterer, builder, whatever. You've got to be so many things when you run a business. I think that's one of the pressures.
Yeah. And again, like I said earlier on, I just dove into it.
Yeah.
No one's taught me everything I know other than the carpentry. No one's taught me to be a businessman. I've just thought, I'll have a go.
A lot of us do.
Because I got the confidence to do it.
Yeah.
I felt it was right. I was in a time in my life where I knew what I wanted, something bigger, something more. And, I could be a carpenter until I retire.
Yeah.
At the age of, 68 now or something, which is not ideal. So I was at that end game. But to have that end goal and to grow and evolve, you got to put yourself at risk. Like you got to put yourself in the deep end and take a risk. And luckily for me, it's paid off massively. And I haven't scratched the surface yet. The business is never going to be massive.
Yeah.
But I've got a plan of what I want to do with like property development and buying properties, and having that would be the dream. Then
that's what you want to do. Get
property,
into,
not work for people.
Flipping properties.
Buying and selling property. Flip. Not having to work for anyone ever again, other than myself, and then the brands and the brand work, which again is another topic I want to kind of go into a bit deeper, is like why I do the brand work and why I really put myself on a pedestal.
Let's do that now, mate, because I know that you mentioned earlier in the conversation as well that you see that as like not an exit strategy, but a complementary thing that could ease up your time on the tools.
Yeah.
So let's get into the whole social media side of things, because you are one of the, I guess, most well-known on socials carpenters in the UK. I think that would be fair to say, wouldn't it?
Probably in Wales, at least.
Well,
there's not a lot of us in Wales.
I don't know, mate. I don't know how many carpenters would be, and it's the same with any trade. I don't know how many carpenters are on social media, but if you were to talk about most known, I think you're up there in the UK. If you were to talk maybe top 10 accounts, obviously there are other people around as well.
Yeah.
But over the whole, if you looked at it as a percentage, you're up in like the 1% when it comes to social media. So with that in mind, mate, I guess let's start at the beginning of that as well. Like what was the first thing that made you think, I'm going to start socials?
Again, the business, it came at the same time. Start the carpentry business and thought, I really need to get myself out there now. Like I got a reputation around my area, but do I need to be reaching out to other people? Do I need to be reaching different areas of the country? I don't know where it's going to go. I'm just doing my thing and, let's get the work out there, showcase what we can do. So any clients that are coming to me, they can say, look at my socials and this is who I am, this is the way we do. I've never relied on any marketing. My vans are sign written. I don't do Google reviews. Nothing's always been solely word of mouth reputation. But I want to be able to give people and clients or potential clients a platform where they could see who we are. So if we're a new up and coming business, the people that I've worked for in the past as a sole trader or working on the side, that was fine because I had my main job and I was kind of doing my own thing. Now I'm completely on my own. With the work dry up, I don't know. So just in case, let's get ourselves out there. So started Instagram, showcased a good, some of my nice jobs on there. And then again, I was working with one of my best friends at the time. He was my best man in my wedding and everything. We don't speak anymore. Like we completely fell out. Loads of other reasons for that, why we don't speak anymore. But one of the main reasons then was he always had to try and be better than me. It was constant battle, and you shouldn't be like that with friends. We should all be supporting each other, helping each other, progress and commending them on their efforts and their achievements and everything. I never had that. So it was constant battle back and forth. I've done this. Oh, I've done it better. Anyway, one thing he wouldn't do was go on social media and put his cell phone camera. I thought, I'm going to do that. That's one thing I know I can do that he won't do. And that will kind of get me out there a bit better as well. And that's how it started. Done my first vlog. I did a pergola job, lovely job. Done my first vlog and who I am, this is what we're doing. And I was like, I like this.
Were you always comfortable, like, to direct camera?
Yeah, I've always been confident, like, you know, with anything. Get up on stage, sing, karaoke, present, whatever.
I see my balls shrivel up when I think about doing that.
Again, it's for my family. They're all like, outgoing, do like stuff with not showbiz, like, but like, you know, they're singers in bands and things. So they're really shy. Go out there and do their thing. So I kind of had that in me anyway. Obviously, I was a little bit apprehensive at first. I was like, oh, I've never done this before. What are people going to think of me? But I was like, oh, I don't care. Why do I care? I don't care what people think of me anyway. So what's social media going to matter? And that's how it happened. I started getting a few followers and people like commenting on the work, and I put more work out there and just grew and grew and grew. And that was over 4 years ago. And in the last 2 years is where it's really like kicked off. Like, but one of the biggest, two big drives really of why I wanted to push socials as well, especially when I knew I would put myself out there for like millions to see or whoever to see. It was for the business, but it was also like I lost one of my best friends. Like he committed suicide, and he was in the trade as well, and a plasterer.
I'm really sorry to hear that.
And I promised him. I said, look, we were in the trade together. I was starting I had the plan to start the business, and he was a sole trader as well. And I said, look, I'll start my own work, and you can do the plastering for me. You know, we'll make a thing of it. We started working together, doing little jobs. He done a lot of work for my family as well. And my dad was doing self-builds and things. I thought, we could do that together. We do our own thing. And after he killed himself, I was like I never lost anyone that close to me before. So that was a massive wake-up call. I was like, life's too short. Like, I got to go out and make the most of it. So I kind of done that for him as well, to put myself out there and, you know, really grab life by the balls, like, and get the most out of it. So when I started Source, I was like, I'm doing this. I ain't going to, you know, shy away from it. I ain't going to let anyone get me down or, you know, have an effect on me because I'm doing my thing. Like, I'm just going to do my thing and enjoy it. Because again, life's too short. And one of the other biggest reasons I don't really speak about much, and a lot of people don't know. Obviously, my dad, is my dad. He raised me from the age of 3. Like he's my rock. Like my father, you know, he took me under his wing. Thankfully, my mother met someone, you know, tidy. My dad's obviously in the trade. He's a contrast manager now for a big company, but he was a carpenter as well. He was the one who got me the apprenticeship initially because he was friends with the owner of one of the biggest carpentry companies in Wales. So obviously thankful for that. It's obviously who you know as well. He raised me and, you know, helped me with doing my apprenticeship, teach me whatever. So I think from an early age, obviously being raised by my dad, and my other family then, or my biological father, didn't want to know me at all. Like, but they literally live around the corner from me, and they want nothing to do with me until the age of 18.
Oh shit!
Yeah, so for the whole age, it's quite coincidental. And we want to get to know you now. I was like, we haven't got to pay maintenance or whatever. So
yeah,
I did give him. I was curious. I did meet my dad and meet my other family. It didn't really go to plan, because they were kind of like trying to dig their heels in too quick and like slagging off my mother and things like that. And I was going to go too into depth there, but I was like, hang on, no, you don't want to know me for my whole life.
Yeah.
You know, I got my dad. He's raised me. He's fantastic. You know, he's my idol, and I wouldn't be half. You know, I wouldn't be sitting here now probably if it wasn't for my dad, because he put me on the right path and, you know, raised me to be who I am today. So I thank him for that. But then my other family, then, like, they all live around the corner from me, literally a stone's throw away. Like, no contact whatsoever. So my personal goal now, I know to some people it might be like, oh, do you really need to do that? But for me, it's that thing of, I've done all this without any of you. Like, nothing. There's my family, they've raised me, they put me on the right path. I feel like I owe it to them now to say, thanks for looking after me, raising me. I'm going to make something of myself now. So when I do all this branded work, a lot of it's not just for the money. It's not because I'm getting paid for doing, the reels and the content. It's because I want them to see me up there on the posters, on the adverts. So they are proud of me, the ones who raised me, and the ones who've abandoned me can say, fucking hell, fair play to them. Like, that's kind of it. That's my like hidden goal, hidden drive, is to say,
driving force. Yeah.
You all abandoned me, and I've done this without you, kind of thing. So
fair play to you, mate, and fair play for bringing that out, because it's important. I think it's important to have those driving factors, and it shows that you're very self-aware to know that's that's there, mate.
Yeah.
It's all right, Alex. It's all right. It's
woo, that's
it, mate. Yeah, got basket in the corner.
A bag of onions you got over there.
Yeah, that's it. But no, fair play, mate. Fair play for putting that out there. As I say, it's a heavy thing. It's a deep thing.
Yeah.
But the fact that you can actually grasp onto that and use it as a positive driving force, because people deal with things in very different ways, and it's not to critique that, but you can take life circumstances and you can become a victim of it and sit in that, or you can take it and you can use it as fuel, which is what you've done to push on. So fucking fair play, mate.
But I know my family, if they watch this, they'd be like, oh, you shouldn't worry about them and they haven't done anything for you, kind of thing. But there's always been deep down there, like, it is shit, like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the people who are supposed to be raising you and looking after you don't want nothing to do with you, and it's not your fault, like. But then luckily I'm so fortunate. I've got a family, awesome family. I spend a lot of time with my family. I probably spend more time with my family than I do with some of my mates.
Yeah.
My aunties and uncles, we're quite a close-knit family. We do a lot together, and we all bring out the best in each other as well. That's but good, yeah, I'm lucky. I'm thankful, because if it wasn't for my dad, my mother didn't meet my father, who knows? You don't know where you're going to be.
There's a lot of what ifs, man. Isn't there? But as you said before, you believe that things are mapped out for you. So what happened?
I do. Yeah.
What was meant for you, you had.
Yeah.
And not to speculate, but not to cast judgment, because I don't know anyone involved in the situation. But I think when people can cast aside somebody like that, that says a lot.
Yeah.
And potentially you had a much better hand dealt you with what you had than what you would have had things have been different. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I think a lot of it is down. I know. I always say, like, I believe things are mapped out for you. The universe rewards you. I don't have so much cheesing up. That's how I believe it. The universe rewards you. Law of attraction. Just be good. Like, just be a good person. Treat, I'm no saint. Like, through my ages, I've probably pissed off people. I've had arguments with people. I know.
Yeah.
But I've learned from that. But deep down, I feel like, I'm a good person, trying to be as good as I can be, because I think that, can
I can see that,
like other people. So
then you can inspire people. You've got your son yourself, so you've got him to set the example and inspire.
A big driving force. Like, so obviously me and his mother split up, but whatever happened between us, I made sure I'd always support him, which I do massively now. And the more successful I can be, and the more even it's not all about money, but if you're financially stable, it can help massively. So however I can support him financially with doing the things he wants to do, it's a big weight off my shoulders. And like, he's in football now, he's doing a football academy. That costs money. I can afford to do that because I've put in that effort in, working the hours, getting the money in to make sure he can do whatever he wants to do within reason. Because obviously, as he grows up, he still needs to learn the values of everything I had to learn. But if he needed something, There's never a question. Like, that's, again, going back to, like, success. For me, success is just even going to a shop and just having your groceries or a new pair of trainers or something, just going to the shop and think, yeah, I can buy that. And there's no worries, like, it hasn't got to be about everything too flashy. Just having that, being comfortable and knowing you can just do the daily things and having the nicer things in life without having to worry about what's checking your bank balance every couple of days.
I know exactly what you mean, and I've gone through times in my life where I have had to check the bank balance. And it's shit.
Yeah,
it's
same.
Shit.
There's been times.
Yeah, it's One of the things I love having these conversations, because I just feel like I'm learning more and more every time I do. I learn more from all of my guests. One of the things that keeps like the resonating undertone of a lot of it is the importance of purpose. And having a purpose as a man, it's so fucking important, mate. It really is, to keep direction and like your purpose. You've just outlined a few of them, and I think that's what keeps us going. Like you said, it's not fame or success in terms of materialistic things. It's like you said. Now you can make something of yourself. You can set an example. You can provide for your son.
Yeah.
That's purpose. That's your purpose, and that's what keeps you. Like, I mean, look at it. I don't know what time you got up this morning, mate, but what, 5 a.m., 4?
Half 5 was fine,
half 5. Okay, that's what gets you up at half 5 in the morning to drive 2 hours to come and sit here with me. It's these things that we do. You have to have that driving, the driving force, the purpose. Otherwise, what's the point in anything?
Yeah. So you've got to have goals. You've got to aspire to do something. Like, don't get me wrong. There's things I've wanted for years, and I've achieved some of them goals, but that's been years in the making. Like my car, my dream car. I've worked so hard to get that. A lot of people might just see as, you just gone and bought a car. Like, I've dreamed of having that car since 2007. The first Transformers film come on telly, and I was like, wow. Yeah. What's that car? Never seen it, but Bumblebee. I was like, I want one. One day I will have one of them cars. Yeah. And everyone's like, and I was like, no, one day. And that goal has never left my mind. Realistic goal, like the car, it wasn't masses of money, but it was something I knew it's unique. It's a dream of mine, and I've achieved that. And it's taken, I bought it 2 years ago, 2022. Quick maths, 2007, so 15 years. Is that right?
Yeah.
No, is it?
Well, you're asking me, I'm just getting
quick maths. So if it is 15 years, anyway, it's a long time. It's taking that time to get that, you know what I mean? And having that goal. So, again, it's not about the glitz and the glamour or fame and like that. I do socials. I got my reasons for doing it. Don't get me wrong. It is nice to see yourself up on the posters and having that success. But that comes after.
Actually, mate, that's a valid point. So I've just dropped back to you saying maybe that, one of the most well-known carpenters in just Wales. However, there's a national campaign for Howdens, mate, where you're going to be across the whole of the UK. So I'm maintaining UK, mate.
Yeah.
And keeping hold of that.
And again, stuff I never thought I would do. I've never gone and really set out to do that. Them opportunities come knock my door. I ain't going to turn them down.
Of course not.
Because it helps me with my, the campaign I got with myself to get myself out there, show people who, doubted me or abandoned me that I've made some of them myself. Like, that's what I want to do. Because people, I've been laughed at in the past. People always go, I've had, even like my dream of the car, people are like, oh yeah, whatever. Come on there. But like, no, I'm going to do it. Like, I'm going to do it. And that's where we are now. And I say, when I met my wife and where we are now, a lot of that is through, we're going to do that. That's going to happen. Might not be tomorrow, might not be a month, might be a couple of years, but I'm going to do it. And I've always been that way. If I've wanted something or wanted to do something, I've always made sure I try and do it. And a lot of them goals and dreams are realistic, so it's easier to achieve. I don't set the bar too high, but I set it enough to be like achievable. When you do it, it's like, wow, that kind of thing.
Do you know what, mate? Again, you know, I thank you for being so open and honest, because what I'd like to hope, and what I think would be hard to argue with, is anyone listening now, like you said, that they've probably seen you about, but they don't know you.
Yeah.
But maybe now they do know a little bit more about your drive, why you're doing what you do. And it was much the same when I had Kev sat there. You know, everyone knows Kev in the industry, Paint Warrior. But then you hear his story and why he's doing everything that he's doing. And at the end of the day, he's just a man trying to provide for his family.
Yeah.
Same as yourself. You know, you're a man trying to provide and set that example. And hopefully it has some sort of impact where the trolls do back off. Because I think that's the problem, really. Like, with the trolling that goes on socials, most of it's out of ignorance.
Yeah.
You know, it's people that don't know the story. They don't know you. And when they don't know you, it's easy to take a shot at you when you're anonymous.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
But if anyone sat there and listened to everything that you've just said and can still take digs at you for the stuff you're doing on socials, well, that says everything about them and not you.
I think a lot of people, and a lot of people ain't happy in themselves, and they take out on other people, and that's just the way of life. Like, it's never going to change, and you're always going to get trolls, you're always going to get hate.
Yeah, of course.
But it don't matter. It don't matter what anyone else thinks. So you got your own agendas, you got your own goals, and you got your reasons for doing things. Just stick to what you're doing. Like, do you, be yourself, and just keep working at it. Like, and things will pay off. Just put the graft in, put the time in, have them goals, and just go. I'm hopefully, people. I can inspire people, and they can hear my story, and then they know what I'm about, a bit more about why I do things, and then maybe they can take that on board, if it resonate, and think, do you know what? Like, I'm in that position, I can do that. I want people to do well. I want everyone to do well.
Yeah. So, I think people will definitely resonate, mate, and there is a little bit of responsibility and accountability for each and every individual to look at their own story and think, because you can channel the pain that you've been through, and you can take that in a positive or a negative way.
Yeah.
And that is a choice to each and every one. You've harnessed it and used it in a positive way. There are people that will also harness it and use it in a negative way and use it as an excuse to act out in ways, unfortunately. But what you've done, mate, is set an example of what you can do. And again, just to touch on the social media side of things, that in itself, I mean, you probably know the answer. Do you feel that's a business in itself?
It is, yeah. I've set up a business for the media. It's Errioc Media.
Oh, really?
So again, I'm juggling two business. Businesses. two business. Obviously, my wife helps out with both as well. And again, that's another animal in itself. Like, you're trying to do two companies. Social media. There's a lot of work involved, a lot of groundwork behind the scenes of the reel that you see 60 seconds of. And again, I made that choice. I took that on, took that other chapter in my life on, because I knew that I was having these opportunities given to me. I wasn't going to turn them away. I turned some away, which ain't applicable to my trade or to me. I kind of stay true to the brands I work with. Everything you see is because I believe in the brand, or, I've used the product before. I like the product. I don't just take anything on. I've turned away loads of big names, and that's genuine. Turn away loads because it's pointless. I got to try and think, have my target audience and believe in what I'm trying to promote and showcase on the socials as well. So having them opportunities, setting up the company, I knew that the carpentry company would be, quite kind of long term, but I always knew there was something else to come out the other side, because my body ain't going to take another 10 years on the tools.
Yeah, man.
So opportunities came. Let's take that and just make it something way bigger than I intended to be. So the plan is now, like I said, the dream is, and I'm in that position now, is to get property development through the carpentry, and then just media work. That's it,
there, man. I can see you've set those goals and achieved them in the past, mate. I can tell you're a driven bloke. You'll get to that. Yeah. I think it's beyond doubt. It's just a matter of when, not if.
Yeah, it takes time, and I've learned that. from where
I mean,
I
where
am.
do you? So if it's one of them cheesy questions, this one, mate. I don't think I normally ask this, but where do you see Errioc Carpentry Media in like 5-10 years? Like, what's the plan? Because the thing that I've noticed with socials is it can move so fucking quick,
Yeah,
like really quick.
And I'm also, again, I'm not naive to either. I've got maybe 10 years max of being on socials. People might not want to see a 45-year-old guy with a beard and long hair showing the new laser cutting tool that's come out of that.
I don't think 45's too bad. I don't think 45. Listen, you got to tread carefully, Alex. Mate. Tread carefully.
Yeah. But no, I think, again, whether it's age or whether it's times are changing, there's always maybe it's a new social platform is going to come out that I might not be able to get on board with, So I'm going to kind of take it on board, do it for as long as I can. That's going to help sustain the goal of property development because I obviously earn an income from it. And then we'll just see where it goes. The dream would be, if social media keeps going as it is now, to do my properties, and I'd love to be a presenter. That's kind of another goal now, coming into this side of media work and having these opportunities to work with brands and like the presenting and the comparing and interviewing people. Like, I love that.
Yeah.
Like, that's like some of the members of my family, that's what they've done. My uncle was a compare, one of the biggest compares in the 80s for some of the biggest brands and clubs, and like that's another story in itself. But again, he's given me that push to do what I'm doing now as well. So that would be awesome. That would be the goal, like to do the properties, stick to the tools at my own pace, and then maybe be a presenter.
Would you consider TV work, or have you been offered TV work?
I haven't been offered TV work, but who knows? Yeah, I'd love to do it, but it would be because I've achieved something, not just because I want to be on telly.
Yeah,
it's not. It's never been about that. A lot of people probably would think that, but it's not. Deep down, it's a goal, and it's a position I can put myself in then, where my body and my age I can keep working.
Honestly, mate, I think you're a great ambassador for your trade and for the trades. Yeah. So I think anything that came your way in terms of stuff like that, I can tell it's not for fame, but if you had the opportunity to spread the message to another audience, another demographic, it's only positive. Yeah. It really is. I think I can't echo this enough, but the likes of yourself and, like, in my industry, the Kevs, the Foxes that are out there with the big followings, I'm all for it because you're reaching people, and that is what it needs. The construction industry needs people to be reached, and for the benefits of the construction or working in construction to be highlighted, because, as I said before, the education system is not pushing the youngsters into construction or apprenticeships. It's all academia. And there's very few people championing the trades as a good place to be. There's unfortunately a stigma that hangs over it of, and I could talk for hours on it, mate, and I won't. But there's a thing that hangs over the construction industry of, you end up here if you fail. If you don't do well at school, don't worry, you can go into the trades. Well, no, how's about this? How's about if you get straight A's at school? Here's an idea. Go into construction, run your own business. And within 5-6 years, a 6-figure turner, a 6-figure business is really not out of sight.
No, not at all. I done well in school. I was I didn't have no A's in my GCSEs. I think I had all C's and 2 B's. I actually even failed my MVQ level 3 college. Initially, but that was because I wasn't as experienced. I was good hands-on, but didn't maybe grasp the knowledge side of it, of written.
Yeah.
There's a lot of us who failed in the class at the time. We had a retest, and we don't know why, but I'm hoping, again, if I even had D's or E's in school, whatever GCSE results could be, you can still achieve whatever you want to achieve. It's not, don't let that limit you at all. And the trade, if I can tell anyone now, the trade it's an awesome place to be. Like, you can do very, very well. Then if you're good at your job, you can do really well. You can be really successful.
Well, the other thing that I keep repeating is that demand dictates value.
Yeah.
And the demand for tradespeople will always be there. And with the people going out versus coming in being disproportionately balanced, the value is only going to go up.
Yeah.
So it's like I said, man, keep spreading that message, keep taking all the opportunities that you possibly can. Before we wrap things up, mate, the one question I do want to ask you, I'll ask a lot of my guests the same question, which is, given what would appear the mental health crisis in construction, what are your thoughts on that, as in why construction is so adversely affected in comparison to other trades?
Probably it's probably difficult to answer, because I've never really experienced too much of it. I think everyone suffers with mental health. We all suffer with it, however dramatic or that could be. But I think the demand, there's a lot of pressure maybe in the trade as well, especially going out on your own. Like I just touched on, having your own business and things. Maybe there's a lot of pressure. Don't take too much on your own if you can't. Work with other people. I love working with people, have the banter and help each other out. It's difficult. Yeah, I think it's difficult for me to say too much on, because I've never really been there.
That's fair enough, mate. That's fair enough.
All I can say is, if you're in the trade, like I've had experiences, it's not all doom and gloom if things go pear-shaped. We're only human. Take it on board, learn from it. We all make mistakes. Make mistakes. So when are you going to learn? I've made loads of mistakes in my time. Still make mistakes now, because I'm human, and it's going to happen. You can't always avoid things that are going to go wrong, but just learn from it, grow from it. And yeah, I think it's made me a better trade, and it's made me a better person from bad experiences. And hopefully, I have more good than bad, but you got to have the bad to get the good.
Yeah. Well said, mate. Well said. Yeah, it is what it is. I'm glad to hear that you haven't struggled yourself. It's just interesting to get different people's perspectives. A lot of the same thing comes up. Working in isolation seems to be a big thing. Money pressures, deadlines, things like that. But yeah, it's always interesting to ask everybody, because people have always got different perspectives with what they've struggled with.
Obviously, I've struggled, but I've never, like, for me, I don't know, will we ever fully understand it? I don't know, but I've never said to myself, I'm suffering mental health, but I have been in positions where I've suffered because of my job. I've gone home at nights and I've broke down in tears. But me as a person, I can easily go to someone and say, I need help, or give me a hand on a job, or just break down, have a cry. Like,
that's good. Though.
I ain't
that's
afraid.
good.
I'm an emotional guy. Like, I am really emotional.
But like that's your coping mechanism, and the fact that you're not afraid to let it out.
Yeah,
that's big.
What you see on socials, me as a person, I know I put the bravado on. I'm loud and I'm proud, and that's me as a person. I'm bubbly. I love having a laugh. What you see on socials that's me. But at the same time, if I want to cry, I'll go and cry. Like, I will. I ain't afraid to show my feelings, But hopefully that can resonate with people as well. If you're watching,
definitely
just speak to people. Like, I've been on jobs. Like I said, I've had a job handed to me. Couldn't turn it down. I've got help on that job. That help is no longer available. What do? Pick up a phone, get Instagram. Oh, come give me a hand on the job. Yeah, of course. Let's do it. Don't just take it on your own because you're too proud. Get people in. Can't do it all on your own. Simple as that.
That's massive, mate.
Yeah.
That's massive, because, again, typically male thing, bottle it up, don't talk, don't ask for help, because people see that as weakness, and that's where the problems come about. So, to be honest with you, what you've just said there explains the fact that you've got your coping mechanisms in place. Yeah. So fair play. Yeah, it's important, mate.
Yeah, very important.
Is there anything that we haven't spoken about, Alex, that you wanted to touch on?
Depends how long you got. But no, I think for this episode of this podcast, I think I've touched on, there's a lot, like I've done a lot of podcasts, and I think I've opened up a lot more today than I ever have before, because this is a different kind of podcast.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just hope that people will listen and they can understand a bit more of how, you know, I work, how I am as a person, and what I do on socials. There's a lot more to it than meets the eye, really.
No, I think you've put that across really well, mate. And again, I thank you again for being so open. And hopefully everyone listening and watching, you know, does know you a little bit better and knows your motivations and your reasonings. And
I always say this, one thing I was going to say earlier on about helping people out as well. Like, I'm always available. Like, the amount of people I get messaging me, you know, for advice on their work, or just saying that I've helped them out with whatever, big or small. Like, my inbox is always open. That's what social media is there for. That's why we created our own CCL Live, to give people a platform to come on and showcase who they are, open up, give them more confidence. You know, and I'm using social media as well as a tool to help as many people as I can. Because again, quickly going over it, the older generation, some have even said, "Oh, all you're doing is just doing your thing. You're not worrying about anyone else." That's the one thing I want to get across to people. I've got a lot of time for people. Every single DM that comes to my inbox, 99.9% of their messages will get a reply. That 0.1% they haven't got replies because I've literally lost it for whatever reason. But always approachable, there to help anyone I can, and that's what I want to do. Make sure I use social media as a tool to help other people as well as much as it helps myself.
Appreciate you, mate. It you know, big statement, but the world needs more people like that. You know, if everyone did that and everyone helped each other and everyone did a little bit, then the world would be a much better place.
Yeah.
But yeah, appreciate that, Alex. I mean, but again, before we do wrap it up, mate, you mentioned briefly there, let everyone know what CCL is, where they can find it, and all the rest of it, and also you and your socials. So tell everyone where they probably already know. And I'll put all of Alex and Errioc's details in the episode description, so the links will be there. But take it away, mate. Let them know everything you do.
I am looking at the camera much so this podcast.
There you go.
Gazing into your eyes. So obviously, Instagram is my biggest platform. So my handle is Errioc_Carpentry Ltd. And also we do a weekly live called CCL, which is Construction Collective Live. Me and 3 other great guys, some of my best mates who I've met through social media. A lot of my good mates are from socials, which is another story in itself. But we do a weekly live, getting the trades on to tell their story, who they are, what they do, what their backstory is, what their goals, dreams, and aspirations are. And we're trying to build a community through social media and just see where it goes. 3 years in the making, still going strong. Nearly a year's worth of guests want to come on as well.
That's right, yeah.
So yeah, just check that out as well. If you like podcasts and you like stuff about the trade, definitely get on and see other people's stories as well, because I think that's really important. Is, like I said, helping people grow, helping people through social media. And
has that got its own Insta?
That's I think it is construction_collective_live, and you can catch up on all the things that we've done over the last couple of months with our guests on the page. Anyone's welcome. It's open to everyone. Like I say, it's Construction Collective. It's open to anyone. Brilliant. You haven't even got to be in the trade. You can be a handy person, architect, a labourer, whatever your story is, come on. And just build that community, really.
Wicked, mate. So with Errioc, that's mainly Instagram. Is there any other platforms?
Yeah, TikTok, Facebook as well.
I'll find you.
But the main daily stories, daily content is Instagram. So.
I'll put all of Alex's details in the episode description. Before we wrap up, big thank you to the Funky Peach, who are supplying all the guest merchandise, of which I am about to bestow upon Alex. So some branded merch. Thanks to you guys for supporting the podcast in that way. And again, mate, massive thank you to the effort that you've made today coming in.
It's a pleasure.
Trusting me with your story on the platform and putting some valuable content out there, mate. So huge thank you. And I'll catch you lot on the next one.